Nice. O bout dele tava bom, hein. Oito, 7 suíte de não teria defendendo. É o bottom suíte de connector aqui. Size com certeza. Uma broca, né? Agora eu peguei duas pontas, não vou conseguir largar pro segundo barril nenhum. Terceiro, velho. Cara, aqui é uma bosta. Já era, gurizada. Também tá entre umas... Uma das... Ah, aqui eu ganhei, velho. Ah. Bora, velho. Que situação, sonho, os caras se bloqueando. Também é uma das piores mãos ali, né, que eu tô mandando. Mas ainda é profitável. É, com certeza eu vou abrir, sendo que tem um bout com 6, tem um cara com 6 blind e com bout, né? Potezinho bem bom de squeezar. Ah, zero equidade. Back fold. Pra 2, né? Esse cara que tem alguns ases, suites, me dando call assim também. Não vou tentar comprar isso aqui. Se tivesse pelo menos... Se eu tivesse, tipo, dama de copas, com certeza eu tentaria comprar, né? Mas aqui... Fold. Mesmo pra esse size. Deixa eu ver, velho. Boa. É, tendo Bout junto, esse cara aqui eu vou tentar irritar meu flank. Agora sim, tô dando give up. Se não tivesse o Bout desse cara, eu estaria rodando no turn já. Sai fora, mano. Dama, dama. Dólar na cabeça do cara, velho. Check fold. Espero e cuidado também. Pra começar a pensar em tentar inventar alguma coisa, tem que ter pelo menos uma de ouro. Pra diminuir a frequência dele ter flash draw na mão, né? Eu estaria dando resteal se esse cara não tribetasse. Easy bet, né, gurizada? Tem uma caralhada de turn que eu consigo do segundo barril. Se ele me dá só call aqui, vai ter muito turn que eu vou conseguir do segundo barril. Porque a maioria das vezes quando ele der só call, ele vai ter um 8 ou um 2. O Valete muitas vezes vai estar fazendo isso. E qualquer turn de espada eu consigo, que me dá flash draw, eu consigo chovar. Qualquer 6 eu consigo chovar. Qualquer overcard eu consigo chovar. Abri de novo, parceiro de novo deu call. Bet tentar negar a equidade dele. Depois quero 2 cartas e tomei outro chove na cara. Easy fold. É que não é tão easy fold porque ele vai ter uns draw, né? Tipo, ele pode estar fazendo isso com 7 8 com flush draw. Mas ele tá fazendo isso. É, pocket pair ele não tem na mão porque ele daria dano de resteel. 6 ele também não teria. É, o 9 ou draw ele vai ter ali. Mas... Caralho, velho. Velho, 6 vezes que eu abri o cara me deu call. Filho da puta, mano. E acerta todas. É que ele tem esse range super amplo, não tem como não se betar isso aqui, cara. Vai lá, vai acertar esse board aqui de novo, velho. Ai, ai, flutuou todas. O cara pegou todo o meu stack, mano. Vai ter que se betar. Turn aqui é bem ruim, eu tô desligando já. Eu não vou conseguir, com toda essa dinâmica, ele sabe que eu tô... Eu tô com level com ele, eu não consigo fazer ele largar nem as raias aqui. E tinha um outro cara por falar, então eu já espero um pouco mais de credibilidade, de qualquer forma. Então... Aqui tem 0 draw também, né? Tô indo pra check fold aqui. Ainda mais quando ele dando check turn. Bem cara de ter uma dama. Acabou com o meu stack, mano. Abraços. Mas também ele acertou, né, velho? Teve 2 situações ali que ele me deu check chove, cara. É dar check chove com air completo, nem fudendo. Toma, 36 blind pra deixar de ser otário. Paga aí, velho. Ai, ai, ai. Tem que dobrar antes de chegar nesse FT aí. Vai ser complicado. E agora eu vou pro chão, né? Eu só não vou pro chão contra esse cara aqui, ó. Esse aqui tá abrindo qualquer coisa, eu vou dar o win. Anyway. As últimas órbitas ele tá abrindo acho que mais que uma a cada 3 mãos, né? Coleta meu bout aí, mano. Ah, sai. Vai tomar 2 pontas, ó. E daí ele pegou as as, velho. Meu Deus, mano. O bicho me destruiu, velho. Mas também, velho, acertou todos os spots. Vai se fuder, velho. Ele pega um as ainda. Left 98, item 55. Uma tela. É, contra 2,5 tô foldando. Contra 2x defenderia. O Balt vai ter que salvar, eu acho. Fazendo os cálculos aqui, mas eu acho que eu vou ficar no ferro hoje. Não pegar. Tem que não salvar. Ah, 9, 18, 4. Entre bet pra abraçar esse cara, né? Isso aqui é um restil. Foldo mais. E não foldo pra esse aqui também. Só tô dando tribet mesmo, não chovando reto, porque contra o King Espada eu posso foldar se ele chovar. E aí sim vai ser um range forte. É, sessão é break-even, bem dizer, né? É break-even. Não é break-even, nada. Bosta, na verdade. Perdendo $275. Esse daqui vai ter que salvar. É 8 blind mais bout, né? Trolei, velho. Ah, aí, ó. Fudi, velho. GG. Vou tirar o fone aqui porque acabou a live.
Mixed by Rottweiler.
Né, não é meu dia. Mas é que eu chovei aqui, tipo, parece que tinha bastante gente pra falar depois, mas os outros caras estavam tudo short, né? Tipo, era só esses dois caras aqui. Tipo, e a probabilidade de algum deles saírem com um par maior que o meu é bem baixa, né? Tava logo querendo me isolar contra esse cara. Que esse louco aqui talvez seja recreativo, tem poucas mãos dele. Capaz de dar só um cold call ainda. Pegar rei dama e dar só cold call ali. Então eu queria tentar disputar o bout desse cara aqui. E é torneio bout, né, meu? A gente tem que caçar os bout dos caras. Então tem que arriscar mais, né? Torneio regular eu jamais chovaria aquele par de 6, né? E bosta de dia, velho. Deu tudo errado. Tudo errado. Ah, mas é isso aí, gurizada. Obrigado pela. Não pegar. Obrigado por acompanharem aí. Quem não conhece ainda tem um canal no YouTube, o Poker Descomplica. Vou deixar o link aí, se alguém quiser trocar uma ideia no Instagram também vou deixar o link. Eu lancei um curso de poker, que é um curso mais coach. Nesse final de semana eu lancei ele. Quem quiser mais informação me manda uma mensagem ou no Instagram, ou manda um sussurro aqui, ou manda e-mail, sei lá. Me chama de alguma forma que eu explico melhor como tudo funciona. E gurizada, realmente não fizemos FT. Mas um grande abraço a todos. E acho que sexta eu tô de volta. Talvez amanhã eu jogue também. Daí eu abro live. Mas não é certo. Na sexta-feira aí eu acho que eu já tô de volta também. De novo. Eu acho que vou jogar sexta e sábado. Esse mês eu quero fazer uns 500 jogos. Pelo menos. Grande abraço.
has less than half his starting stack. To the secondary feature table. Two Germans going at it. Marvin Rettenmeyer's bet more than 4.5k on the turn with a flopped full house. And Manig Lerzer has called with 0% equity.
What a terrible thing to happen to a guy named Lerzer.
8 on the river. We have a double paired board. Rettenmeyer checks.
Hoping Lerzer has an 8 or a 6, but no.
He checks behind.
Ace-Jack never value betting there.
Okay, that's why it's...
Translation? You fish. Marvin probably a little mad he didn't just bet big on the river.
Rettenmeyer getting off to an okay start in this tournament, as is Ola Shemian. In fact, he's just taken the tournament chip lead.
Oh my god, new idea for Season 10. Automatic free massages for the chip lead. And do not say that is not a good idea because you know it is.
Shemian's got 110k. Other notable names include our footballers PK and Carew, and our qualifier, Fraser McIntyre. Across the room, Daniel Negreanu is all in.
39.50. I told him to give me an ace and a queen. How crazy is that?
Who thinks Daniel actually has ace-queen?
You don't know what you're gonna do? Are you that close?
Decision is on David Breitfuss, brother of Fabio Breitfuss, who's been on our feature table all this time.
That's confusing.
I gamble, right? Yeah. Ace and a jack. Hey, I got the best hand for now.
Breitfuss calls. Daniel way ahead.
Super Lou's call and the suck out immediately.
All right, good luck, my man. Cheers. It was a pleasure, y'all. I didn't have much fun playing, but I had fun hanging out with you people. Yeah. Yeah, thanks. Now who's gonna keep it up? That's what she said.
Just gonna let that hang there.
She is not amused.
Hey, Suki, I'm out.
Wait for me!
For the avoidance of doubt, Daniel Negreanu has been eliminated. Back to the main stage in our main feature table. Mark Rumi has limped in early position. Johnny Lodden has 6-7 off on the button. He raises to 800. The brother of the guy who just busted Daniel Negreanu folds. Rumi calls, heads up to the flop.
Rumi using the much underutilized limp call approach, it looks like. I will say only this. There is a reason it's underutilized.
Ace-Jack 7. Rumi with second pair, Lodden with bottom pair.
And I imagine Rumi will be check calling at least one street here. Nope, nope, Pika-P.
He leads for 1200.
I can already tell this hand is going to be special.
Lodden calls.
And he's pretty much got to call with bottom pair. This hand's been so weird already.
3 on the turn, doesn't change anything.
What's it going to be now, Rumi? Some more Pikachu action?
Nope, he checks.
When Rumi checks, it looks like he's got a marginal holding, and this gives Johnny the chance to bet twice to try to get him off it.
A bet of 1900.
Rumi shouldn't feel too great about his hand. In general, I don't think he's going to be ahead very often when Johnny call leads like that.
Rumi calls the 1900. We go to the river, which is a 7 trips now for Lodden.
This is a really terrible card for Rumi, and if he checks, he should be folding to a bet 1,000% of the time.
Well, he has checked. Lodden's sure to go for value.
Yeah, Johnny, my boy, you can value bet this all the live long day.
There's 8.5 in the middle, and Lodden's only got 8k behind. And he bets just over half his stack, 4,400.
And the reason this is a fold is because Queen-Jack now beats exactly 0 hands.
Rumi calls!
But yeah, call though. Call's probably good. And the worst part is he probably thinks he just got really unlucky.
After that big loss against Alonso, Lodden really needed that pot. He's back up to 21k.
No tengo el as, tengo la jota. Sé que no tiene el as, tío.
Rumi wants the table to know he didn't have an ace.
Pasada, tío.
Story checks out.
And we've reached the dinner break on day 1B. Leo Fernandez is out of here. He hungry. Benny Spindler's got off to a great start in this tournament, as has another player with an Austrian flag against his name, Ola Shemian. He is leader of the pack. He is the current chip leader. Also in the top 10, 3 members of Team Pro, Christophe de Mulder, Tony Judette, and Nacho Barbero, and 1 former EPT champion. That'll be Benny Spindler. And still 3 levels to play today. Next time, the Godfather offers some words of wisdom.
Thank you for going all in. I got me a shot at least. We don't talk too soon in this game.
While Gail Bauman proves she's a poker femme fatale.
You brutal girl.
But it's Mad Marvin who's got reason to cheer.
I would obviously love to win another tournament here, but I am currently in more of a party mode. Single again!
When Day 1B continues. For 9 years, it's welcomed a wealth of new talent. For nearly a decade, it's boasted the biggest legends. And once again, it's an all-star attraction. This is Barcelona. This is the start of Season 10. This is the EPT main event. It's a new dawn, a new era, and possibly a new record for the tour as the PokerStars.com EPT main event rolls into Barcelona for the start of Season 10. 1,220 players have so far paid the 5k entry fee, with 20 more needed to join the game before the start of Day 2 for this to become the biggest competition in EPT history. At stake, the chance for the winner to pocket more than $1 million. Last time, Daniel Negreanu fell at the first.
So annoying.
EPT regulars Loddon and Pagano had a rocky start, and Gerard Piqué headlined a supporting cast of sporting stars. As we look across this crowded room, I have some exciting news for you, Joe.
We broke the record.
Not yet.
What then?
Gail Bauman is at our feature table.
Normally I would be all about that, but what is happening with the record?
Well, we're 20 players away from equaling the field in EPT6 San Remo. And remember, registration will stay open until the start of Day 2.
Okay, but you better not be lying to me.
I've done my sums, 1220, that's where we're at.
Actually, this time I was talking about Gail Bauman.
She's a tour de force building a big reputation. Gail Bauman is looking to cash in after crashing out just before the World Series final table in 2012.
It was a lot of frustration to have made it so close. It's the best and worst experience I had in poker.
He's made more EPT final tables than any other player, but Luca Pagano is still searching for his first title.
Well, the EPT is the most important, most prestigious poker circuit in the world. If you win an EPT, you basically have completed your career.
And Mad Marvin Rettenmeyer has been crushing it worldwide, battling Jason Mercier for the #1 spot in the Global Poker Index.
I've been leading it for like most of the year. Jason took over, but it's really, really close. It's by like less than 1% of the points.
Rivalry and redemption. It's all on the table for Season 10. So we join the action halfway through Day 1B. Players returning from the dinner break. One of our football fraternity is taking his seat. As well as representing Norway, John Carew played for several English Premier League sides. Gerard Piqué currently plays with Barcelona, and he is married to Shakira. Shakira. And everyone is still ridiculously excited to have Ronaldo in the room.
Is Ronaldo his first or last name? He's like Kramer.
As for the players at the main feature table, we've got EPT legend Johnny Loddon.
He got set over setted right before the dinner break. Sad. We've also got Leo Fernandez, whose movements are more unpredictable than a housefly, and Gail Bauman. And if this feature table didn't make sense to you before, it does now.
Baumann brings a stack of 28,000 to the main stage, a bit below the tournament average. Leo Fernandez has the chip lead of these 10 players with just over 63k, while Johnny Lodden is the low man at the table with just shy of 13,000. Blinds are currently 200-400 with a 50 ante. Action will be on Alexei Kovalchuk. He's under the gun, first to speak.
How much Koval would a Kovalchuk chuck if a Koval... I couldn't do it!
He's got 7-8 suited.
8.
Oh, I really thought I was going to get that.
The two-time World Series of Poker bracelet winner makes it 800 to go. Ace-king for Gail Baumann.
Most players are going to just call here against an under-the-gun raiser, but I think it's important to keep this in your 3-betting range as well.
She does just call. Action folded around to Leo Fernandez. He passes. Alexei Samkov on the button has ace-9. Well, that's a fold. Queens for Mark Rumi.
Raise. 25.
And he 3-bets from the small blind, makes it 2,500. Hartman folds the big.
Last time Rumi 3-bet, he made it a little too small. This one's better, but with 2 people in the hand, you would probably want to make it a little more. That way you keep bluffs in your range as well.
Kovalchuk got out of the way. Baumann calls in position. It's an ace-high flop. She takes the lead.
Make no mistake, this is a situation where you do not, I repeat, do not have to make a continuation bet.
Rumi does continue for 2,500.
Betting this flop accomplishes nothing. You want worse hands to stay in, which they won't, and better hands to fold, which they won't.
Baumann calls. 6 on the turn. Rumi slows down. He checks.
Gail should be able to bet here. Not really sure what she'd be afraid of.
11,700 in the middle. She bets 5,200.
And I think queens are going to be good here less often than airline food.
Rumi ruminating.
I like it.
He calls.
I hate it.
And the river card is another 6, pairing the board. And Rumi,
Oh boy.
check called the turn, now leads the river for 5,700.
And I think this is a just call for Gail. Even though I don't think there's much she should be afraid of, there's not much that can call a raise here that she's beating either.
Wow, she moves all in.
How much?
And apparently I could be wrong. Again.
13.
Rumi, buddy. You play this hand so strong, and so is she. Do you really think she's running a cray-cray bluff on you? All she needs is a ace, and you're toast.
He calls.
On the other hand, nice hand by Gail Baumann.
She gets a full double up.
I didn't think she could get paid by worse, but she did, and she did. Well played.
Great start at the feature table for Baumann, up to nearly 60,000. Meanwhile, over on the secondary feature table, it's Luca Pagano versus Marvin Rettenmeyer. Pagano has bet the turn with pocket 4s, Rettenmeyer way ahead with pocket aces. And in mildly tilting fashion, he string calls.
Dude, sometimes calling's a 2-step process. Marvin's just calling, by the way, to keep Luca's range wide, so maybe he'll fire again on the river.
It's a deuce. Luca first to speak. He checks the action to Rettenmeyer.
Rettenmeyer's got a bet now, try to squeeze some value out of the Paisan.
$7,325, very precise.
That 25 makes a huge difference.
Luca folds the 4s.
That's because Luca's more solid than a slab of gabagoo.
Marvin Rettenmeyer up to 36k. Expect big things in this tournament from the German. He's the first player to win back-to-back WPTs and is on a crazy winning streak.
Honestly, I'm not really sure about like how many tournaments I've won live, but I think it's around 15 probably. It's been a really good 2-3 years now that I've been traveling the circuit. My favorite EPT moment is definitely the EPT Prague last year when I won the high roller and it was my last shot of winning the Player of the Year award. And I had to get top 2. I actually ended up winning the tournament. I would obviously love to win another tournament here, but I am currently in more of a party mode. Single again!
No wonder he's been texting me, asking me what's going on tonight. He's desperate. And there's a guy who's not desperate. Gerard Piqué has to beat him off with a stick, or he could just let his wife Shakira do it for him.
Shakira. And here's another of the Barcelona alumni, three-time World Player of the Year, Ronaldo. Back in the city where he once graced the Nou Camp. He's here for that sit-and-go tournament against the pros. We'll pop back and see how he's getting on a bit later on. Right now, we're heading back to the feature table. Gail Bauman has ace-6 in the small blind. Action's been folded to her. She calls.
Not a huge fan of limping with a hand like this. You're not really trapping with it, and if you get raised, it's a hand that plays poorly.
Johnny Lodden with 10-4 raises.
Out of position, I'd say there's a pretty good argument to limp fold here.
She calls. Heads up to the flop. Jack 10-9, all diamonds. So Lodden has second pair and a flush draw, but Bauman has the nut flush draw. Check. King on the turn.
Johnny flopped a decent hand, but played it cautiously. Now it's not so decent. And Gail may decide to semi-bluff this now.
Into a pot of 3,300. She bets 1,700.
Johnny's got the best hand, but
he folds.
Gail had one of the few hands she'd be semi-bluffing with there, so I think a fold in that spot is going to be correct most of the time.
Well, that was only a small pot, but it boosts Gail Bauman's stack, and it pushes her into the top 10. There she is on the leaderboard behind two other players at our feature table, Alejandro Alonso and Leo Fernandez. Also among the chip leaders, Martin Finger, Tony Judet, and the man in the top spot right now is Ole Shemian, a player who got off to a great start in this festival here in Barcelona, making the final table of the Super High Roller.
Glad to see after that big score he can finally afford a shirt with sleeves. Moving on up.
And moving back to the main stage, Fabio Breitfuss has raised under the gun with 8-10 suited.
Little loosey-goosey under the gun.
Action's on Johnny Lodden in the small blind. He flats with ace-queen suited.
Tough to 3-bet an under-the-gun raiser with a hand that good. You don't want to get blown off it by a 4-bet.
And Alejandro Alonso comes along for the ride with 9-10 off in the big blind.
Getting some good pot odds.
The flop is Jack 7-3. Straight draws for Breitfuss and Alonso. Not much for Lodden.
Not the worst board for Breitfuss to continue.
The irony is, Johnny actually has the best hand right now. Breitfuss continues for 1,400. Johnny calls.
Cheeky little float.
And Alonso is in as well. We are still three-way.
All fairly standard.
6 of diamonds on the turn. Breitfuss picks up a flush draw. Happy to take a free card. Action checked around, and an 8 on the river gives Alonso a straight.
I think that would have been the perfect card for Breitfuss to barrel, by the way.
And Johnny Lodden's timing is a little bit off. He's trying to represent the hand that Alonso has.
He's about to get snapped off like a Christmas wishbone.
Alonso is called.
Just calling, giving Breitfuss the chance to call behind.
Okay. Nope, he folds. And Johnny Lodden is out.
Good luck.
Okay.
He's had 13 cashes on the European Poker Tour, but he won't score a 14th here in Barcelona. His chips now belong to Alejandro Alonso. No repeat of the success he enjoyed in Monaco last season. Send your messages of condolences to Johnny Lodden using the hashtag EPT.
Are you ready for some football?
This could be the biggest event in the history of the PokerStars.com EPT. But the main event isn't the only headline grabber here in Barcelona. One of the side events on Day 1B has brought together some of the most famous names in poker, including Vanessa Selbst, Jonathan Duhamel, and Elke. But the star attraction is a relative novice. It's 2-time World Cup winner, 3-time World Player of the Year, and ex-Barcelona hero, Ronaldo.
Tem algumas comparações entre o poker e o futebol que eu gosto de fazer. Tipo, a concentração tem que ser máxima. Tem que conhecer o adversário. Estou no começo ainda da minha carreira como jogador de poker. E tenho lido alguns livros de pôquer. O André dá alguns conselhos, algumas dicas sobre o pôquer, tentar ser o mais agressivo e quando tiver carta tem que ser agressivo sempre. Mas... Assim, na mesa vai ser diferente, porque realmente as pessoas não sabem como eu jogo, mas vai ser divertido também tentar surpreender. Às vezes o lado de ser famoso pode confundir as pessoas, então eu espero poder confundir as pessoas com certa jogada. E de poder participar, eu acho que o poker continua crescendo muito no mundo inteiro, quebrando barreiras em alguns países, quebrando preconceito em vários países. Então é bom fazer parte dessa família do poker.
When Ronaldo says poker's breaking barriers, does that include the fact that I'm not allowed to come within 10 feet of him?
That's Mr. Ronaldo to you.
I don't even know if Ronaldo's his first or last name.
Staying with the soccer crew, Gerard Piqué's recently had a double up. He's now playing around 31,000. But John Carew is significantly below average, playing just over 23,000. And as we rejoin the action, the tournament clock shows we're just 13 entries away from this becoming the biggest EPT main event ever.
I'd tell people to get down here, but I think there's only 13 left watching at home.
Blinds 250, 500 with a 50 ante.
Raise.
A raise from Alejandro Alonso with ace-10. Folded to Leo Fernandez, who is 3-betting with 7-9 suited.
Oh, Leo, 3-betting a hand that should be a pretty easy call.
Mark Rumi on the button. Has 8-3 off. That is going in the muck. Hartman folds the small, and Stefan Kierstad will give up the big. Action back on Alonso. And he is re-raising, a 4-bet to 4,300.
If Alonso's been paying attention, he knows he's well ahead of Leo's range, and I like it because calling a 3-bet out of position with ace-10 is not ideal.
Fernandez calls the 4-bet. They go to the flop. 5-4 deuce with 2 diamonds.
So Leo wants to play a bloated pot with a marginal hand. Here it is.
Alonso continues for 3,500, and Leo will fold.
Arguably one street too late.
Alonso now playing a stack of nearly 100,000. That'll see him climb up the leaderboard into 4th place. He's looking to become Spain's first ever EPT champion. Ola Shemian, currently 3rd in chips, has gone to the flop against Britain's Paul Frost.
Stay frosty, Frost. I don't know, I got nothing.
Frost has checked the action to Shemian, who's bet 2,500 on this 8-8-7 flop. Frost calls. 3 of spades on the turn.
Doesn't change much, does add a flush draw.
Frost checks a second time. Looks like Shemian intends to bet again.
On a board where it's kind of hard to be semi-bluffing.
8,800.
1,000. 8,000.
Shemian's got a huge stack, though, so he could have almost anything.
Frost gives it up.
I don't want to say Shemian's bossing it, but here's something. Bruce Springsteen listens to all of his music.
Shemian, now with roughly 3 times the tournament average. Well, let's check on the online qualifier we've decided to follow throughout the tournament, Scotland's Fraser McIntyre.
Look at that.
The 10.
Thank you.
McIntyre's on Mac and Fire, am I right?
No, he's got 10,000 chips.
Oh.
At the secondary feature table, Luca Pagano has raised, Marius Pospík has called, Marvin Rettenmeyer calls as well out of the big blind. 3 players to the flop.
That's Officer Pospík to you. Look at that avatar. Have you seen this boy?
Pagano flops best, top pair.
From worst to first.
Rettenmeyer checks.
19.
Luca continues for 1,900. Action on Pospík. He folds. And Marvin?
No pair, no draw, no girlfriend. No plans, no prospects.
He folds.
Well, standard is as standard does. You can see why this guy's made so many final tables on the EPT. He's just solid.
But Luca's best result on the tour is still his first ever final table appearance back here in Barcelona in 2004. To the main feature table we go. Actions on Gail Bauman. Pocket tens in the cutoff. That's a raise to 1,025. Fabio Breitfuss in the small blind has ace-queen.
This will sometimes be a re-raise out of the small blind, but not always. Yeah, he's cool.
He elects to call. Leo Fernandez has 9-5 of hearts in the big blind.
He's getting about 6-1 on his money, so calling here is actually correct.
Three-way to the flop.
So far, so good, Leo.
Something for everyone. Top pair for Breitfuss. A flush draw and a straight draw for Fernandez. Bauman, in addition to her pair of tens, has a gut shot of her own.
Wow, you knew all those things right off the top of your head. Not bad, James.
Breitfuss has checked.
Leo should probably check this to the razor, but no.
He leads. 2,300.
Leads often look weak because they generally are weak. Leo probably wouldn't lead a monster, so he also probably shouldn't lead a marginal hand.
Bauman folds her tens. But Breitfuss is not folding a pair of queens. He calls. Boom. There's the flush for Fernandez.
He got there, but it's a card that's going to make it really hard to get paid off.
Breitfuss is officially drawing dead. He checks. Fernandez checks behind.
Even though I said it's hard to get paid, you still have to bet. The river could make it even harder to get paid.
Fernandez has just improved to a straight flush.
What a terrible straight flush to have. Leo's got the second highest ranking hand, period, and still can't call a raise. That is hilarious.
Leo going for value. 2,000.
This is a teeny tiny bet, hoping he'll get called by an ace that isn't the ace of hearts.
Breitfuss calls. Your straight is no good, sir.
Well, against a guy like Leo, it's hard not to make that call. He's more alive than the 10 o'clock news. Leo Fernandez has not played one hand conventionally. You're a loose cannon, Fernandez, but damn it, you get results.
His playing style is working for him. He now has a stack of close to 66,000. At the outer tables, we check in on Jake Cody. A short while ago, he was super short, but he has just tripled up through Stephen Woodhead and Jakob Carlsen, who came second to Liv Marie in San Remo in Season 6. Here she is. Eric Seidel scored second place in the Barcelona Super High Roller. He's now looking for success in the main event. And we've got two members of Team Pro sharing a table, Christoph de Mulder and Theo Jorgensen.
That could be you sitting between them. Is that Christoph again, or is that Matthias?
To the secondary feature table, where Marvin Rettenmeyer has just 3-bet Denis Pisarev. Pisarev calls.
Everything making sense so far. Ace-10 is an awkward cold call there because it doesn't flop super strong, and of course jacks have to call.
Heads up to the flop. And that flop is all baby cards. A gut shot for Marvin. Jack's still good for now.
Pretty cool board for jacks.
With the action check to Mad Marvin, he continues for 3,225.
Marvin was the last aggressor, and he is the current aggressor.
Pisarev calls. The turn is the 10 of hearts. Rettenmeyer now with top pair.
This card could get awkward.
Pisarev checks a second time. Rettenmeyer checks behind.
Sick check behind from Marvin to know that a 10's not always going to be good there.
9 of diamonds on the river.
Slam dunk value bet for two jacks.
13.5 in the middle. And a value bet of 4,200.
Most folks are going to cry and call or cry and fold here. I'm leaning toward call.
Rettenmeyer staring at the board. And those are raising chips. Rettenmeyer makes it 11,325.
I think Marvin's actually raising for value here against smaller pairs because this river bet looked kind of weak.
Pisarev calls. And tables is jacks.
Yeah, looks like Marvin thought he was good there. I don't think he gets called by a loser too often, though.
Pissarev now up to 57,500. While Mad Marvin is down to just over 20k. Let's head back to the main stage where we have a new player coming to the feature table. A poker legend, Thor Hansen.
Mr. Stefan. I forgot to bring a couple of racks, but this should be enough buy-in at this table.
Good evening.
Good evening, everybody. 50?
I will say one thing for Thor. He is a Thorable.
If you want to play in an EPT event, go to PokerStars.com, where there are qualifiers every day.
So I traded that football for this authentic soccer shirt.
Joe, I don't know much about soccer, but I do know that's a Real Madrid shirt.
Yeah, it's a Real Madrid shirt.
And we're in Barcelona.
What's the difference?
That's the difference. For the 10th time, the Catalan capital is hosting the PokerStars.com European Poker Tour. We're heading back inside the Casino Barcelona for Day 1B of the main event. Straight to the feature table, where the Godfather has just arrived. Thor Hansen has nearly $3 million in live tournament earnings and 2 World Series of Poker bracelets.
The Norwegian Godfather. Hey, James. Johnny Lawden sleeps with the lutefisk.
Blind still 255 with a 50 ante. Action on Gail Bauman. She's got queens under the gun.
I like to call this hand the pillow fight.
She raises.
I was going to go all in. I mean, there come that.
Folded around to Brightfuss. He passes. Fernandez is out. New player at the feature table. It's Danish chef Creston Nielsen. He's called from the cutoff with ace-6 of clubs, and Stefan Kierstad is going to call out of the small blind with 7s.
But he had to get the Godfather's permission first.
Christian Bauer in the big blind. Not much of a hand, he passes. So 3-way to the flop.
Queen's way out in front. Ladies' night going strong. Time to get some value out of those $4 Mai Tais.
Jack 5 deuce with 2 diamonds. Kierstad checks. Bauman likely to continue.
And I anticipate 7s will be hanging around for a street or two.
Gale C-bet is 1,650. Nielsen, with no hand, no draw, will pass.
No cover charge on half-price shooters, everybody, because it's ladies' night. Kierstad, you are not invited.
He calls. Heads up to the turn, which is a queen. Top set now for Bauman.
Great card for Gale, but no, actually bad card, because I don't think Kierstad can call again on this card.
He checks a second time.
Still, Gale has to try and bet it. This is the part of ladies' night when just one too many ladies shows up and kind of ruins it by being all obnoxious.
3,000.
3K. Kierstad not looking overly happy.
Yeah, like I said, this isn't a great board for 2 7s. Looks a little anxious, too. Yeah, I'd be nervous, too, buddy.
He passes. And Gail Bauman adds over 4.5K to her stack.
What did you have there? I had King Jack, but I couldn't go all in when you raised in first position. You beat that, right? Yeah. I mean, it was so hard.
Gail Bauman still in control of this feature table and still a relative newcomer to the game.
I studied linguistics and literature in Australia, and that's where I started playing poker with friends instead of studying, obviously. But I still finished my master's degree, just in case it didn't work out. At first, my family was a bit afraid, of course, but then I explained to them that I wasn't gambling. I said I'd try for a year or so playing, and if it doesn't work, I still have a job. That was fine for them. This tournament in Barcelona especially is really nice because there are so many players. There are always the best players in the world. first I really had a hard time being on TV table and all that. It's getting better. I'm getting better at that. Today it didn't bother me at all. I was playing good, I think, so yeah. I try to make a lot of final tables so I can be on TV and be used to that.
And she's got a master's degree? Call me the Mona Lisa because I am in Louvre.
Blinds are up to 3-6 with a 75 ante.
Oh, look at this.
Action folded to Bauman in the small blind.
Girl. You brutal girl. Wait a second.
That's enough to put Hansen all in.
Wait a second, I might have the famous ace.
He's got jacks.
I'm sorry, it had to be you.
Okay.
Believe it or not, that was a good shove by Gail, mathematically.
Yes, but thank you, though. Thank you for going all in. I got me a shot at least.
Okay.
We don't talk too soon in this game. No.
Very safe flop for Thor.
Of course. It helps. Flop helps a little bit. Gail, you're a good girl. I mean, honestly, without poker too, I think so.
Okay, let's rein it in a little, Thorzy.
She's drawing dead.
You just came for the show.
Hansen will get the double up.
But this is a good game. This is poker. I mean, it's...
Okay.
Okay. I thought you were an honest girl.
Come on, Gail. Nobody holds out on the Godfather.
Oh, yeah, 2 4s.
Hansen now playing over 18,000, but suffice to say not among the tournament chip leaders. Not many familiar names there. Victor Ramdin is in 10th, while former chip leader Ola Shemian has slipped down to 8th. Shemian in action here against Gianluca Trebbi.
This kid likes to bet.
It's a straighty board. There's a flush draw out there. Shemian bets 3,150.
Once again with all a stack, and this time he's in the big blind. He could have had any 2 cards.
Trebbi folds. Shemian boosts his stack.
I don't want to say Ola Shemian's bossing it, but I'm wearing a suit made by Hugo Him.
Meanwhile, staying out in the field, our pick of the online qualifiers is still enjoying himself.
Exactly how much, please? How much does he have more? I can't tell him. Oh, you can't tell him. You have 5.
McIntyre's having a good time, and really isn't that all that matters?
You want to stay with us?
Yeah.
Really?
Of course I do. You know that.
Then why are you betting? Why are you betting?
I need to double up.
You're not gonna get any double up from me. I promise you that.
Is that fold?
No?
Sure?
Well, yeah.
That was an intense interrogation.
McIntyre wins the pot.
Where there's smoke, there's qualifier.
You're better than me.
No.
I'm sure. You just... No? You said no?
Just in that hand.
You're better than me in that hand, of course. What's wrong with you? Hit each other.
We've got to enjoy ourselves. We're at the poker table.
Word.
Let's check in with Gerard Piqué, playing a hand against Stefan Balazzi. Wow, it's like Walter White and Gus Fring had a kid.
All in.
Balazzi shoves the turn.
Holy overbet, Batman. Started this hand under the gun. You'd expect him to be pretty strong here. Probably a tough call, even with top pair. Guy's married to Shakira, so we know he's used to making difficult but ultimately correct decisions.
Shakira. Piqué folds.
Nice hand, Walter Fring. And nice Popeye forearms.
Balazzi playing an above-average stack. Gerard Piqué, not so much. But no doubt who the star attraction of the day is. Ronaldo turning up the tempo in his turbo tournament with the pros.
That's a lot of paparazzi. There you go. There you go. Elke's watching the Ronaldo commercial. How cute.
Look at him. He loves it. To the secondary feature table. Marvin Rettenmeyer with jacks, Yakko Veloop with an open-ended straight draw, and Veloop bets 4,100 on the turn.
I like that name, Yakko Verloop. Looks like Marvin's been slow playing these jacks to this point.
Marvin.
No more slow play. Rettenmeyer moves all in for 13,500.
Verloop's hand is a piece of Verpoop without the river card. Maybe too much for him to call this.
He lets it go. Rettenmeyer adds nearly 10k to his stack. He's now playing 26,600, roughly 44